The next move will come within weeks when the first outlaw bikie gangs are declared under the new legislation. But what will all this mean for South Australians and our police? Chris Kenny spoke earlier to Assistant Police Commissioner Tony Harrison.
Well, bikies traditionally, as we know, they've engaged in violence, extortion, intimidation, blackmail. We've seen the possession and the use of firearms. Unfortunately and sadly, we've seen shootings in the streets of Adelaide in the last 12 or 18 months. We also know that they engage in the manufacture and distribution of illicit drugs. And at the end of the day, a lot of them principally exist to make money as a result of engaging in criminal activities.
All these things are against the law now, so why don't you just charge them and put them before the courts?
We do that on a regular basis. Since the inception of the Crime Gangs Task Force in November last year, we've taken action in respect to more than 100 gang members in South Australia for various criminal offences. We've seized in excess of 100 firearms and we've seized a lot of other assets that will be subject to confiscation. But the reality is we need to start to look at the criminal associations and the risk that they pose to public safety. The new legislation, the declarations, the control orders, the criminal association really will go a long way to starting to interfere, disrupt and dismantle their criminal activities.
Now that's where the bikies and others complain. They say these new laws will actually prevent people associating with each other, that they breach their rights in fact to choose who their friends are, who they associate with.
Well, the legislation has been very specifically and intentionally designed to target people who engage in serious criminal activity. For law-abiding citizens, they really have nothing whatsoever to worry about. This is legislation which has been well thought through. It's very specific in its intention, and as I said, and I really need to stress, if people don't engage in serious criminal activity and plan those sorts of activities, they really have nothing to worry about from this sort of legislation.
Are you worried that these new laws might have actually united the bikies? This is what the bikies actually say. The various groups, Gypsy Jokers, Hells Angels, Finks, are now saying they're cooperating, brought together to fight these laws.
Well, I haven't certainly seen any evidence of that. I guess only time will tell as to how the bikies and crime gang members respond to this sort of legislation. But the reality is these people largely exist to engage in serious criminal activity to make money. Now we know, and we've seen it often in the past, that they like to maintain control over particular patches or territories, and I'd be very surprised if that actually eventuates where they are seen to unite for a common purpose.
They've even formed their own political party, the Free Australia Party. Have you heard about that, and does that worry you?
I haven't actually heard about that, if that is the case. I'd be once again very surprised if it is the case.
If these laws work, won't South Australian bikies move interstate where it will be easier for them to operate?
I think there is a fair possibility that could be one of the outcomes.
Have you warned your colleagues interstate that they might be having more bikies headed their way?
Well, in the last 12 months, while the legislation has been developed, there has been a lot of interest by my counterparts interstate. I guess it's fair to say that they're watching closely as to the progression of the introduction of the new laws.
At the moment, no bikie group is declared illegal. When will the first group or groups be declared illegal?
We're still assessing our position at the moment, and as I said, a lot of work's been done currently. It won't be that far away before we move forward with the first of those applications.
Will this start a war between bikies and police?
I don't think that will be the case whatsoever. I insist that police always maintain a very professional approach to the policing of any organised criminals, and members of outlaw motorcycle gangs are treated no differently. We go about our job in a very professional manner. I think there is a degree of respect in the way that we go about our job, but we'll use the full force of the law in relation to policing of outlaw motorcycle gangs as well as crime gangs, including street gangs as well.
Will this mean that South Australians are safer though? Will it mean that there is less violence on the streets, less drugs in the community?
Well, I think that's what we would like to see as a result of this new piece of legislation. We'd like to see less drugs on the street. We'd certainly like to see less firearms on the street and less shootings in the streets of Adelaide. And we'd certainly like to see less incidents of extortion, blackmail, intimidation and violence. So collectively, if there is a reduction in those sorts of crimes, that would be very good for South Australia.
Well, good luck with it, Assistant Commissioner.
Thank you.
And we've checked with the state and federal electoral authorities, and they're yet to receive any formal application to register a new political party. So we'll